Hi, everybody. Nancy Hart here, Whole Heart Evolution. And yes, I am on the floor. You may be asking me, Nancy, you've recorded from a lot of places. Why are you on the floor today? Well, I'm following the example of my pup, and I'm looking at her on the floor here. You might hear her snore in just a moment. Because they're some of the smartest cookies on the planet, and when it's hot, where do they go? They hit the floor. They find the cool spot. They find the rock. They find the water. They find the floor. And that's what I'm doing today. You see, about 3 a.m., 3:30 this morning, I awake out of a sound sleep to the sound of nee. And you know it's not good. It's that sound that wakes you up like a shot, kind of like a kid or a dog about to barf. There's something absolutely automatic in that, right? That was the sound of my internal AC unit fan uh, meeting its maker, pretty much. Now, a couple things to know about me. Yes, I do live in Texas, but I'm not a huge fan of the big heat. And as much of the country is going through right now in waves, there's heat coming through. There is also some belief out there right now, empirical data, if you will, that for Texas and for the Dallas area where I am, it is going to be particularly hot this week, which means there's going to be a lot of stressors on commercial and residential equipment. And consequently, there may be a shortage of technicians and a shortage of parts because everything is getting stressed at the same time. So there I am, knowing that this is probably going to not net in, well, let's just say something that's going to cool me down immediately. And I also, interestingly enough, have found myself in a position where I'm teaching on abundance and gratitude this week in one of my classes. It's an underlying theme overall, but there's some particular attention to it, particularly in the idea of deepening these practices and stabilizing that depth of practice where it can become our default. And this is part of what I wanted to offer to you today in the midst of my AC opportunity. That I was challenged. When something like this comes up, can I find a seed of goodness in it? When something like this happens for you, can you find a seed of good in it? And because I was really alerted to the concept this week of abundance, and for me, stabilizing that at even greater depth, is there a possibility? What might abundance look like in this scenario? It showed up a couple of ways. First and foremost, recognizing that I had a resource available to me, a small company that I'd love to patronize, as one of my access points to HVAC support, right? And then when I found myself concerned this morning after making a couple of calls, that perhaps they might not be able to get to me today, that what am I going to do as a backup? Is there a plan B? And sure enough, as I'm sitting on another floor in another part of the house with the dog, I'm in the kitchen and I look up on the counter and I see a calendar of one of those little old-fashioned desktop or countertop calendars that you get in the mail at Christmas time or at the holidays. And it happened to be from another HVAC company I had used several years prior. And I realized there was my option B, because I'm rolling through my Rolodex in my head of who can I talk to. And sure enough, I picked up the phone and also called them. And they were able to send a technician out. Now, first they tell me it's going to be 3 p.m. today. And then magically, all of a sudden somebody becomes free and they're able to come over at 11 a.m. Beautiful. Okay, there is abundance in action, abundance of ideas, of sources that I could act on and see if we can get this ball rolling back into cooling, right? And I found myself also exercising gratitude for that, because we know that gratitude and abundance are pretty much the same coin, two sides of the same coin. And I think that's important for us, particularly when we're in moments of stressors, outer stressors, and maybe, that become inner stressors, right? Not only am I uncomfortable, but my head's running a million miles an hour about, okay, how are we going to get all this done? How am I taking care of the dog? Blah, 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 blah. Just the normal stuff, right? So there's that piece. And then where's the seed of goodness, or how might I use my mind? What tools could I use in abundance and gratitude to step through that space that we're navigating through right now? Because the part that we need, surprise, is not readily available. That's kind of the key component, right? So I got on the phone with the parts guy, and he had already called me to update me, and I could hear he was stressed about it, and of course stressed for their other clients and customers too. He's doing his best to get everything done. And I had said to him from a place that I really was feeling, that was like, hey, you know something? I'm solution oriented. We know that we're going to find a solution to this. It may not be readily apparent in the moment, but we're going to get this sorted out. I also had, as part of my abundance and gratitude, reached out to some friends to say, hey, guess what's happening over here? And had several offers to come chill out, hang out, camp out as is needed while this opportunity is resolving itself. So my takeaway, I hope your takeaway, let me be more specific about that, is when we're faced with some circumstances that are just really kind of not very fun. The AC's out and it's going to be 100 degrees today, let's just say. Is there a way that we can look for seeds of goodness in this? As in, are there resources we can bring to bear, questions we can ask, that lead us to ideas, that lead us to potential solutions that ultimately we can be grateful for, which then generates the flow of more abundance. It's this law of circulation I've talked about before. And while I don't necessarily in this moment have an ETA for exactly when this is going to happen, as in be resolved, fixed, I know that I am well supported in a safe and secure sort of a way. And may you know that for you. May you allow yourself the opportunity to access in that moment of distress, holy crap, and you want to just kind of chill the heck out, literally or metaphorically. Step into abundance and step into gratitude. What can I do with what I have from where I am? This is what I desire. In this case this morning, I desire a backup, an option B, in case option A can't get to me. And sure enough, that was the vision, that was the approach, and it showed up on my kitchen counter, right? Where might that show up for you? So whether it's AC, whether it's your car, whether it's something at work, whether it's something in a relationship, some content that is uncomfortable, some content that's not preferable. Let's try on putting this, what's a seed of goodness that we can find? Grab your abundance/gratitude coin and go to work. All right, everybody, take care. I will see you next week. Ciao for now.